So here's the drill. I interviewed Jimmy Hart in both Dallas and in Las Vegas. But hot diggity dog, no matter where I am, NordVPN.com/Fightful is there to protect me from that unsecured Wi-Fi at the airport, the hotel, to block online trackers, block malware, block annoying pop-up ads, but to give me that virtual location change with just one click, to work on all my devices, phone, tablet, desktop, PC, router, TV, doesn't matter. NordVPN.com/Fightful has you covered. Now they have 3 great tiers. One with just a VPN. You go up, you can get a pass added to that. Go up one more tier, you can add a locker as well. In addition to that, you can access all the content that is geo-restricted with NordVPN.com/Fightful. Same great deal, additional 30 days free, and a money-back guarantee after 30 days. NordVPN.com/Fightful. What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful here with a name you know. We got the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Jimmy, how you doing?
Man, everything's great, baby. How you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. It's great to see you again. I saw you in Vegas last year.
Wow, Las Vegas. We were, everything was so great up there, but I'm so much fun now. The pandemic's kind of halfway gone, and the fans get to come out to see us again. And 2 unbelievable days at WrestleMania, the 2nd and the 3rd, at AT&T Stadium. So it's going to be great.
You got a storied history in wrestling, one of the greatest wrestling managers of all time. Always been curious, was there anybody that you rejected managing, or vice versa, maybe that was pitched and they were like, well, I don't know if I want a manager, or somebody that you were like, I don't want them, they're terrible?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Everybody they gave me, I was happy to get. I haven't heard of anybody not wanting to be with Jimmy Hart. After all, if you were with me, you got your own jacket with that Jimmy Hart wore with your picture on the back. So who would want to do that?
Not only that, I mean, you had your hand so much in the music aspect of wrestling. Were there people that would specifically come to you and be like, listen, I'm not cool with my theme. I would like for you to work on one for me?
You know what? Dusty Rhodes wanted a theme that we did for him, which we made it work. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash wanted a new theme song, so me and my partner wrote the Wolfpack song.
That's an incredible
I
one.
know it. And Hook, we had to do a new one for Hook because he couldn't use Real American, so we did one that we did for him, American Made. So it all turned out great.
So when you moved from WWF to WCW, I would assume that was a part of it. I assume that they were like, man, we're getting some music along with this as well.
Well, you know what's really strange? They still got all of it turned out great, but they still got all of our songs down there with their publishing company. They never released anything.
Really?
Yeah, owned by Ted Turner and them. So they're just 100-something songs. They're just sitting down there waiting for somebody to use them.
So that wasn't owned by WCW itself. It was owned by Turner.
That was owned by Turner, but WCW has them. But when Vince bought all the tapes up here, WWE did, they didn't get the rights to the music.
Wow, so is that like a full library? Like, for instance, the Hardcore and Crash Holly and the Hardy Boys, their music was a part of a library, and AEW has since licensed that so they can use that. So is it a full library, or are they like individual tracks?
No, they're all individual tracks that I guess if anybody wanted to use them, if Turner and them even have a publishing company, who knows what they have down there,
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I think it's a bit of new information there. And what are your thoughts on the wrestling music that you hear today? Are you liking it, or?
I love it. I think whoever's doing all of it, whether it's the artists that are on the radio now, whoever, it's all great. I love all the music. I really do.
As you look at the WWE roster today, if there's one person that Jimmy Hart could manage, who would it be?
I think Amos. I like him. I think that he's got possibilities. He's pretty young. He's got great size and everything else, but he'd be somebody if I had the opportunity to try to get him where he needs to get to.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I mean, that one fits the profile of a lot of the larger-than-life guys that you manage.
Because I had King Kong Bundy and Earthquake and Typhoon and all the bigger guys back then, but I think that would be great.
It's mind-boggling to me to look back at Earthquake. He was like 26 then.
Ooh, he was a big guy, man.
When men were men.
Well, everybody we had back there, whether it was Randy Savage or John Studd or Hulk Hogan or whoever, they were almost bigger than life characters. The guys now, they're very athletic and very good, and we love them all, and they do a tremendous job. They really do.
I think there was something charming about Earthquake that he looked 40 when he was 26. Like, he looked like he had been through some stuff, and he had. I mean, he had already been to Japan and sumo and all that stuff as well. Jimmy Hart, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. Until next time, guys, we're out. What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful here at 3 Square Food Bank in Las Vegas. We've got a guy we've spoken to a few times before, Jimmy Hart. Jimmy, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing awesome. Saw you all helping out around here at 3 Square. I know you do a lot of that. Like, I see you at a lot of these major pay-per-views, and I know you're doing a lot of community stuff.
Well, you know what? My friend Adam, WWE, when he calls me, he goes, Jimmy, we need you over here for this. I said, please, I'll do whatever you want, Adam. It's great. So we bring me in, and so I love being figured in on trying to work for the cause that whatever we need to help people.
Yeah. I always love asking you about the way that you've helped out with music in wrestling as well. Last time I talked to you, you dropped a little bit of a nugget that Warner just kind of had like a library that's sitting there of music that you produced and was never released years and years ago in WCW. Like, do you know of any other tracks that like you've put together that you think really should have been out in the public?
Well, you know what? I was just looking at Spotify the other day. Spotify, Shawn Michaels' song that we wrote for him years ago has 10,200,000 hits. A lot of people say if Jimmy Hart's lips are moving, he's lying, but I'm telling you the truth. Check it out. 2 million hits off the Road Warrior song we wrote, the Hart Foundation, a little over 2 million, but that's on Spotify. But they have a whole big catalog of like 100 and something songs over there, but none of them, I think when WWE had purchased the company from WCW, they never picked up the songs on it, so they're just sitting there getting dust on them. So whoever's listening, check them out.
So were any of those specific to wrestlers, or were they just kind of things that you put together to be used whenever somebody needed them?
No, it was all for the wrestlers back then. For Rave, I'm trying to remember, Rave and Saturn, Diamond Dallas Page, there was just so many of them over there, the Nitro Girls theme, so a lot of them are just sitting there that we actually played, over the TV air. So when they didn't pick them up when they bought the company, they're just kind of sitting there in domain. So hopefully somebody looks into it and puts them out.
So I'd imagine there's plenty of unreleased things in there as well.
Goldie oldies, you know that.
And I got to have your thoughts. What do you think about the Nasty Boys inspired shoes I got here?
Oh,
look at those bags.
Where'd you get those?
I had them custom made, my friend.
The Nasty Boys. I'll tell Knobs and Sags, hey, I saw a guy's got a pair of your shoes on. So that's great. No.
They'll want royalties.
Well, you know what it is. The Nasty Boys, great tag team. The Hart Foundation had so much publicity, was deserving right, which I managed. The Russo brothers were great. The Nasty Boys were great. Terry and Dory Funk, Earthquake and Typhoon. The list goes on and on. Of course, Greg Valentine and Honky Tonk Man, Rhythm and Blues. But the Nasty Boys were definitely one of my favorites.
One of my favorite discoveries is when I realized that when Earthquake first came to WWF, he was like 26. Because that's when haircuts were men. I loved it. Like, everything about him, like, that just screams to my childhood. And people don't realize how young he was back then.
Well, he was young, and he came from Japan over there, too, where he did the sumo wrestling. And if you remember how we brought him in, we had him way up in the audience in one of our cities. And I had Dino Bravo, and we wanted to bring somebody down to kind of, go up against the world's strongest man. So I got out and I went, who's that guy way up in the top up there? And everybody started cheering, and we brought him all the way down to the ring. So it was just a great intro for him.
What is a team or an act that you wish you could have managed but never got the opportunity to back in the day?
I'll be honest with you. I think everybody that was given to me really fit my character, and I was so blessed to have everybody, whether it was Jerry Lawler, Andy Coppin in Memphis, and handsome Jimmy Balliet, and I had Jim Neidhart there too, and I managed the Iron Sheik down there too, by the way, but that was great. But then going to New York, and I don't want to name drop all of them again, but having 23 different guys that I managed up there was just phenomenal.
Jimmy Hart, 3 Square Food Bank here in Las Vegas. I want to thank you so much. Until next time, guys, we're out. What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful, here with a name you know. I was just telling him I talk to you in every city, Jimmy.
I'm everywhere. You know what? My saying is this: I'd rather go on the road and wear out than sit at home and rust out.
You've traveled. You're traveling more than when you were around the business all the time.
Well, it's crazy, but I used to love SummerSlams, and we used to have them. One of my favorite was this one. Can you believe the Ultimate Warrior beat the Honky Tonk Man in 31 seconds at one of the SummerSlams? Unbelievable! I
was very happy. Well, I was not old enough. I was not old enough when it happened. Do you still keep in touch with like a lot of your former clients, so to speak?
Yeah, I talk to the Nasty Boys every week. Of course, Huck and I, we see each other every Monday night because he's got a beach bar and we do karaoke every week. He loves it. And I just saw Bret Hart about 3 weeks ago, so we reminisced for a while. And like I said, it's still great to see some of the guys I used to manage or some of the guys that used to be hot when we were on the shows.
When I interviewed Bret Hart, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to get a positive Bret Hart interview. I'm not going to let him talk trash about anybody." And I said, "Who does the best sharpshooter?" And he goes, "It's easier if I tell you who did the worst sharpshooter."
That's Bret, but I love him. He's great.
And I mean, now you see what Natalia's doing in wrestling. What does it mean to you to now see the children of some of the people that you managed, not just be in wrestling, but she's had like a wonderful career.
She's had a great career. Well, you know what? I knew when she was a little bitty Natalia, because Jim Neidhart, when I was in the Memphis territory, I managed Jim down there with us with Jerry the King Lawler. And I'd go, Natty was with them off and on down there because back then you traveled different places with your family. And so I got to see her then, and I've got to watch her grow up, and she's tremendous. She really is.
The megaphone, do you check it? Do you, when you fly, how does it work? Do you carry it on?
The megaphone goes with me everywhere because it's really part of Jimmy Hart. It won so many matches for us. This is one of the ones I carried back and forth on the road with us. The only thing I changed different, back then I didn't put the logos on them.
Yeah.
But lately, since I do so many interviews for the company and everything, I put the WWE logo on there.
This is our third one this year already, and when you're traveling with it, do you even risk checking it in the bag, or do you put it on your carry-on?
It goes with me everywhere. They let me carry it on, but I have to take the batteries out of it because it's so strict on the planes now. You got to take the batteries out of it.
Yeah.
But it stays with me on the plane. It sure does.
What's the longest you had a megaphone that actually worked, that physically worked, without it getting smashed or thrown down or destroyed?
Well, back in our era, there was a big box on all the big trucks. I mean, a giant one. And they had like 15 or 20 Mr. Fuji canes. They had 15 or 20 Honky Tonk Man guitars and about 25 or 30 of the megaphones because each and every night we would use it some, way, some fashion. And we broke a lot of them, busted a lot of them, unfortunately. But I'd always get them back in. I'd paint them back up again. And then when they break them, I'd go, oh, my gosh, I got to get another paint job done on it. But some of them lasted 2 or 3 months at least.
Did you have, any favorite specific designs? We've talked about your jacket, but, customizing those. Who did you go to? Did you have a guy?
Well, in Tampa, Florida, there were a couple of different airbrush guys that worked on them with me. And, if I was with the Hart Foundation, it'd be pink and black sometimes. If I was with the Nasty Boys, we'd do all the squiggly colors on them. And of course, if I was with the Hulkster, red and yellow, I had some of those. So I just tried to change it up because what I found out, that if you didn't make a special jacket from the guys that you were managing or maybe have a special megaphone, they always had a poo-poo face, So I wanted to keep everybody happy.
Well, Jimmy, you kept me happy. We talked in Dallas, Vegas, and now Nashville. It's good to see you.
Well, you need to be my road manager or something.
At this point, until next time, guys, we're out.
Love you, Sean.